Hi, I'm Will.
And I'm Lisha, and we're with Nordic Analytical Laboratories. Today, we're going to be answering your questions regarding the new MED rule changes that went into effect on January 1st.
To help our clients stay as compliant as possible, I will be asking Lisha some common questions regarding the new terminology and rules set forth by the MED. To get started, let's jump into the first question. Lisha, what are some new terms that will be frequently used starting the new year?
Great question. The most recent updates to the rules definitely contain some new terms for concepts we're already familiar with. To start off, what we all know as process validation is now referred to as a reduced testing allowance, or RTA. The mechanisms to achieve a reduced testing allowance have not changed. However, the state is working with industry stakeholders to design a system that will demonstrate true process validation for licensees in the future.
All right, so reduced testing allowance to replace process validation. Good to know. What else is new?
Next up, we have some changes to concentrate terminologies. Keef has officially been named a concentrate. It is now part of a new class of concentrates dubbed physical separation-based concentrates. These are products that have been created through physical separation by grinding, sifting, or similar process and may use water, ice, or dry ice. Bubble hash will also fall into this new category.
All right, so Keef is now a concentrate. Anything else?
There are a few more verbiage changes that are relevant to testing. Heavy metals has been coined elemental impurities, which is a more accurate term for what we're currently testing and may test in the future. In addition, 2 new product categories have been added for pre-rolled marijuana and infused pre-rolled marijuana. There are now specific labeling, packaging, and testing requirements spelled out for these new product types.
Awesome. So the state introduced a new term called manicure batch. What is a manicure batch and how does it help the harvest process?
A manicure batch is a batch that has been created from plants that have not yet been cut down and or used in a harvest batch. A manicure batch can be considered a harvest batch by itself, or it can be combined with a harvest batch that contains the same plant from which the manicure batch was created.
Yeah, and while we're on the subject of molds, let's talk about the changes coming to microbial testing.
Definitely. Beginning on July 1st, 2022, microbial testing will include Aspergillus screening. Labs will be looking for the presence of 4 species: Aspergillus niger, terreus, flavus, and fumigatus. Any detection of one of these 4 species will constitute a failure for microbial testing.
Awesome. So what is Aspergillus and how does it affect cannabis?
Aspergillus is a genus within the kingdom fungi. The 4 species we will be testing for are considered pathogenic and produce different mycotoxins. However, just because a certain species of Aspergillus is present on cannabis doesn't guarantee mycotoxins are actively being produced. Mycotoxins are extremely dangerous to human health, so all remediated and decontaminated cannabis products for microbial testing must also be screened for mycotoxins. Nordic is actively working on validating a method for Aspergillus and plans to be certified well before the testing mandate and offering R&D services.
Aspergillus isn't the only new test coming to cannabis in 2022. Emissions testing for elemental impurities was also added to the regulations and will be mandated as soon as laboratories obtain certification. Emissions testing is specifically the sampling of vapor emitted from a vaporized delivery device, such as cartridges, pods, or disposable pens. While there is no estimated implementation date at this time, Nordic is working diligently to become the first lab certified for emission testing. Lisha, is there anything else we need to know about elemental impurity testing?
Actually, there are a few more points to touch on. Beginning on January 1st, the retest process for failed elemental impurities test has changed. If you fail an elemental impurities test, you will need to request that the lab that found the original failure retests the original package. You will no longer be able to submit 2 new test samples for retesting purposes. If either or both of the retests fail, the batch's status will be considered retest failed.
Okay, so it sounds like the same retest procedure for pesticides. And so what happens if a sample fails a retest for elemental impurities?
The rules actually now allow for the remediation of batches that failed for elemental impurities. There are some additional requirements placed on businesses offering these remediation services, and we encourage you to check out the rules on the MED's website for more information.
All right, thanks for the clarification. The last major rule change surrounding testing we wanted to bring to your attention pertains to potency testing. The definition of total THC has been updated to include 3 new compounds: delta 8 THC, delta 10 THC, and exo THC. These THC isomers are not naturally occurring in the cannabis plant and are created through various manufacturing and refinement techniques. Nothing in the rules permits the synthesis of these compounds. We recommend consulting with your MED compliance officer if you have any questions about the presence of these compounds in your products. These new cannabinoids will be included in all potency tests beginning on July 1st, 2022. The equation for total THC will include THC, THCA, delta 8 THC, delta 10 THC, and exo THC.
Changes to terminology, new testing methods, and sampling requirements. We've covered a lot today.
We sure have. There are a lot of rule changes that we didn't cover, so be sure to check out the full MED Code of Regulations. As always, feel free to contact us if you have any questions on how to stay compliant.
Thanks for watching, and happy testing.